Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Mario Soto. I am so excited and honored to be talking to you guys again. I want to thank Santa Ana Fire. I want to thank the Health and Wellness Program for allowing me to come back and talk to you. These are obviously very strange times, but nonetheless, we're going to make the most of what's going on. So I'm going to talk to you today about resilience. I hope you enjoy this. It's going to be as interactive as we can make it. I want you to take notes. At the end, there's going to be a quiz. I'm not kidding. But I promise you, this is going to be as lighthearted and hopefully as enjoyable as the other lectures that you've had hopefully the pleasure of hearing me speak to. I know it's a little awkward. It's awkward for me because I'm not getting a chance to interact with you the way I'd like to. But hey, we're going to make this happen. So let me turn a slide here. Needless to say, we are experiencing some very strange and very challenging times. We probably have never faced anything like this since 9/11. And as a result of that, we are really finding ourselves in uncharted territories. We're seeing the best, and we're also sadly seeing the worst of human behavior. And regardless of what we think, you guys are still there showing up every day doing your job.
I don't know that we train for that. The reason we train is so we can do our job to the best of our ability. So knowing that I'm trained well enough helps me to deal with something like that. So if I knew what to do on my way down there, I knew how to, on the way over there, I knew what I was going to do to start with, the steps I need to take care of the child, the airway, the breathing, everything that comes from training. So no, you don't train for that type of incident, but you train yourself to be better so you can handle that type of incident better.
We think that we're prepared by now, right? I mean, we've trained for every single scenario, as the last video just showed. It's what you guys do every single day. And then all of a sudden we get thrown something way out of left field, something we really hadn't thought about. We thought we were prepared, but in reality we haven't. And this COVID-19 epidemic has really forced us to have to learn how to adapt and adjust in a way that truly no one was I don't think prepared for. And most people in society, like most, will always feel it'll never happen to me. But you guys firsthand know that isn't always true. And so as a result, like most nations, you went through major steps to protect those within uniform and those extended family members so that we could mitigate the potential outbreak and the residual effect of seeing a loved one in the hospital on a ventilator and, God forbid, passing away. So yeah, these are very, very challenging times. And boy, if there's anybody who knows and understands that firsthand, it is the men and women of fire. But here's what's interesting. You've heard me talk about stress. It's how we were first introduced to one another. It was my stress management talks. This virus attacks those people whose bodies are immunocompromised. It really affects, and we know the populations, some now children, but people who have some kind of immunocompromised illness or disease, and certainly our elderly. But we found now that there's some there's some exceptions to that, and if you're not careful, the demands of your job and your home life can sometimes get so overwhelming that you put yourself in as compromised a situation as some of these people who already have type 2 diabetes or other issues. And as you can see from this quick little chart, we know how bad stress can affect our body. We know how it can impact it in a way that, we end up paying a longer price, which is why I put there, it is a silent killer. And it is encouraged. In fact, I think it's probably mandatory that every firefighter looks to exercise and stay healthy. It is probably even more critical now that we have this so-called downtime in society to really take a look at how we are treating our minds, our bodies, and our spirits so that we mitigate the chances of getting sick. And so, like the alpha males and females that you are, we always look at, all right, well, I need to get healthy, so I'm going to do something physically. But if you look at what the research shows, there are things that we can also do and should be doing mentally to take care of ourselves so that we put ourselves in a good state of mind. That's true resilience. That's true. So, I chose this particular study that I read from the University of Pennsylvania's Resilience Lab. They're a world-renowned operation, and their research shows and it validates so much of what we already know, so much of what I've shared with you, but it's still incumbent upon us to read this, to understand this, to study more, and to kind of experiment with ourselves, because if not, we know what the alternative is. You see that alternative all the time. As you control the thoughts that park in between your ears, you start leading a better quality of life. If we don't have control of those thoughts that come in and we don't filter them, we don't shove the bad ones out, we start dealing with depression and anxiety. We start dealing with all kinds of physical ailments. We start feeling lonely, and that has a tremendous impact on our well-being, our health, our body's metabolism, our body's ability to fend off illness and disease. So it's really critical that you as first responders, as you as guys and gals who are there dealing with death on a repetitive basis, injuries on a repetitive, sadness on a repetitive basis, emotions on a repetitive basis, that you need to learn how to be able to recharge your battery and take care of you so you don't bring it with you home, you don't hold on to it, and you learn how to let it go so you could be the person you're meant to be. Real critical here. So let's go on to the next, because that takes me to this slide here. And this is real important. People, executives get it. Leaders get it. The most important person in this world are our employees, our people, the people who make us and make organizations run day in and day out. And we need to do a better job of keeping them healthy. So I want you to go down to follow that arrow. I want you to ask yourself, because we need to take an internal inventory. How are you dealing with the stress of home? How are you dealing with the stress of work? How are you dealing with yourself? Are you being good to yourself? Are you snapping in that fourth category and finding yourself creating more tension amongst your coworkers? And how are you being affected by social media news? Because there's a lot of stuff out there. And if you're not careful filtering how much you are exposed to it, it could really take someone over the edge. So I want you to enjoy this little activity. I want you to rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. And this is a stress scale. 5 being you're totally stressed out. 1 is you're handling your business while maintaining calm and connectivity with those around you. And I want you to think about those 5 categories that I showed you on the earlier slide. You got home and family, you've got your work, you've got how you're taking care of yourself, how you're dealing with and interacting with coworkers, and how are you being affected by the news, social media. Are you finding yourself scrolling through Facebook and all this stuff and just absolutely parking your thoughts on partisan things or things that really kind of get a rise, and finding yourself needing to reach for, heart pressure or blood pressure medication because it's just gotten you so amped up. Okay, so I want you to take a moment, and I want you to get a piece of paper, and I want you to sit, and I want you to think about these things, and then I want you to grade yourself. Again, scale of 1 to 5 for each of those 5 categories. You'll have a total score that cannot exceed 25, shouldn't. And you should probably have something at least at a minimum of a 7. So hopefully you guys remember the analogy of the signal lights. It was an exercise that I shared with you a long time ago, and signal lights represent our emotions. When we're at a good place, we got a green light. When we're kind of a little sideways and things might be kind of getting to us, getting under our skin, we're getting a little stressed out, we refer to that as a yellow. And what we want to make sure we do is recognize that when we're at a yellow, recognize being at a yellow, and then taking steps to try and get ourselves back down to green. We do not want to be at a red. If you've scored between an 18 and a 25, then we're at a red. And that means we need to do some things differently. We need to at least first acknowledge that, hey, I'm not doing a good job of managing these outside things that are impacting me, that are getting under my skin, that are setting me off. Maybe it's just the fact that, listen, we're all kind of stuck inside a home, or we're stuck at work dealing with same people over and over again, and we're kind of chirping at each other. We're snapping at each other's heels. Some of that's normal. We're all dealing with that, and that is going to be that's going to be an issue for quite some time. But right now, we're talking about your population, and we need to make sure that we remind each other of how to take care of each other, so that we can bounce back, so we can be resilient, and we can learn how to we can remember how to do our job, and remember how to leave our job, and how to remember to, when we're home, be at home and be present. All right. So again, if your score is in that yellow category, I'd say even maybe between 13, 17. Just be cautious of it, and let's see if we can pick 1 or 2 things that we can do to try and help get ourselves into a better place and be a little bit more calm. If you're in that 18-25, either we need to talk, or you definitely need to pump the brakes and make a change in your life. Maybe a couple of them.
Warning. The following video you're about to watch may be offensive to some firefighters. If you feel that you may be offended, please do not watch. If you are offended by this, then you're definitely that guy.
When I'm on the line, the chief be looking like Manny Fine. And when I'm in the streets, it's a different union shirt every day of the week. This is how I roll, big red truck and a long pipe pole. Say hello when we at the store, when we teach all the kiddies stop, drop, and roll, yo.
Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley.
This is how I turn out.
Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley.
This is how I turn out. When I walk in the spot, this is what I say. All the chiefs stop and be staring at me. I got reflectors on my pants and I ain't afraid to show it, show it, show it, show it.
I'm salty and I know it.
Yo, when we get in a car, we jump on the truck and we out the door. And when I'm in the gym, my arms look big but my legs are thin. What? This is how I roll. PT shorts on, yeah, that's for sure. We headed to a call, baby, don't be nervous. No shoes, no shirt, but we still in service. Watch.
Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley. Girl, look at that Harley.
This is how I turn out.
Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly.
This is how I turn out. When I walk in the spot, this is what I say. All the chicks stop and be staring at me. I got reflectors on my pants and I ain't afraid to show it.
I'm salty and I know it. I'm salty and I know it.
Check it out. Sticker, yeah. Sticker, yeah. Sticker, yeah. I got a sticker, man. I'm salty and I know it.
Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly.
This is how I turn out.
Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly. Girl, look at that Polly.
This is how I turn out.
I'm salty and I know it.
I hope you enjoyed that. When I first saw it, I belly laughed because I was thinking, all right, how are the guys and gals going to feel about seeing this? And I thought, no, it's going to do exactly what I intended it to do. It makes you take a moment where you can breathe, you can let your hair down, and you can laugh at some of the humor that you guys are surrounded by every day and sometimes forget and take for granted. These times right now, this challenge that we have in society is a multi-layered, I'm going to say dragon, because in so many ways it is forcing us to not be who we are meant to be, and that is people who are intimately in contact with one another, speaking to each other, embracing, shaking hands, giving a hug to people that we know. And so that makes a lot of people really awkward. It adds to the stress. And this is real important because in order for you to recharge your battery, continue taking care of a healthier you, we need that support system. We need that support system not just amongst ourselves within the fire services, but we need that support system externally with our immediate family. So stay in touch in ways that you can, that's in a healthy way. Make sure that you are reaching out, that you're talking to people, that you're letting stuff go, because that support system is what we probably take for granted. And it shouldn't be just limited to people in the fire services. We need to extend ourselves and learn how to be able to ask for help, how to be able to talk to people, how to be able to talk about other subjects so that we can learn how to purge and let stuff go and not always be talking fire. That makes for a more balanced mindset and a balanced heart. So let's talk about real quickly what I call these pillars of resilience. There's 5 of them. You can see them there: self-awareness, mindfulness, self-care, positive relationships, and purpose. Self-awareness is exactly what it says. It's knowing what's going on and not ignoring it. It's being able to check your signal lights and say, okay, hey man, I'm wound up. I need to disengage from having this heated conversation with my spouse. That's so important because a lot of times we'll use the excuse that ignorance is okay, and that's not cool. That's never going to help you. Mindfulness, it's being able to give yourself moments of quiet when you need it. Maybe moments of quiet when you're starting the day so that you can make sure that you are starting your day with clarity and with positive thoughts, so that you filled up that tank, so that there's so much there, even in reserve, that when negative thoughts start coming around, you've built such a great inventory that there won't be enough room for all that negativity to get in. And mindfulness is a choice. That's a real good one. Self-care for me is, I think, akin to self-talk. Self-talk is one of those components that I think is underappreciated, because if we're not controlling how we talk to ourselves and how we allow our subconscious to speak to us, then we're in a world of hurt. Because if you're not your cheerleader, then sometimes we put ourselves in situations where we're around people and we listen to them, we get influenced by them, and they may not have their best interest at heart. They may not have our best interest at heart. Positive relationships speaks for itself. Don't need to go into it. And obviously a purpose. We all need to know why we're doing what we're doing. For me, when I do this work, I think the why is one of the most important elements that determine one's drive, and it equates to success in accomplishing their goals. So here's your homework. I want you to pick one of those 5 pillars, and I want you to work on one of those areas in your life so you can make it better. I've put here on this slide examples. Self-awareness, I want you to list all the things that you know you're really good at. Because most of the time, we only find and we only focus on the negative. So I want you to create a strength inventory. How good are you at this? What are you really good at? You're a good listener. You are a really great teammate. You're really good friend. I need for you to focus on those things. And this isn't being ignorant to the things we need to work on, but sometimes some of us, we need to pump air in our tires, and we need to start by reminding ourselves that we're not maybe as bad as we think we are. Mindfulness. My old mentor used to say, control what you can control. So how do we do that? Well, we need to, again, start reminding ourselves of what we can have a positive influence in, and the other stuff, let go. And we also have to learn how to filter out the things that we would consider drama, that may take us off of our agenda of what it is that we're trying to do and suck us into somebody else's mess. That's learning also how to say no to others while we can learn how to say yes to ourselves. Self-care. List one thing you could do for yourself that you can practice every day. And then you see at the end, I have self-talk. Start saying something positive to yourself. Verbal affirmations are a powerful thing. And, if you don't surround your ears and your subconscious with good thoughts, well, then unfortunately, you're probably going to you're eventually going to walk into a state of depression sooner than what you probably should. And everyone deals with it at some point in their life. Positive relationships. Recognize a coworker, family member, or spouse who's helped make you who you are, and thank them. We don't say thank you enough. Go to your spouse. I had a fascinating thing happen to me last week. I had a family intervention. I had my 2 boys and my wife sit me down, and I didn't even know this was going to happen. But boy, was I in the line of fire. And I got told, hey, you know what? You're really good at what you do out there, but you're not doing it real well here in this house. And I had to eat some humble pie. And I was so grateful that I had 3 people in my life who, in that moment, it may not have seemed like it, but the truth was they were telling me how much they loved me. And I had to see it that way. And it changed my life. I don't know that I would have been able to have dealt with that as well as I did when I was in my 20s. But I will tell you what, it was an amazing gift, and I'm so appreciative now. And I've told them that. And the last one is to know your why. Understand why you do what you do. because when you know that, it helps you get through the bad moments and the bad times. Write these down and take an inventory of them. And if you want, I would love for you to share them with me. I'll give you my email at the end of the presentation. All right, so let me ask you a question. Does life control you or do you control it? One way of taking back your life is to maintain good habits and to stick to those routines as much as possible. There's this great commencement speech that was given by a gentleman by the name of Admiral McRaven. He was in charge of the Navy SEALs, University of Texas graduate. I'm sure a lot of you have heard it. If you haven't, I'm going to give you a treat. It's kind of what inspired this particular slide for me. So I want you to click on the button. I want you to watch this video. It's a shortened version of his graduation speech. It's a famous speech, one that I think millions have seen, and I know many hundreds of thousands have purchased his book. He talks about 10 steps. I don't know if he goes into all 10 here, but I know he goes into a couple of them. The most critical is what you do first thing in the morning.
If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, Don't back down from the sharks. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys from every corner of the nation and the world always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers. The 9th week of training is referred to as Hell Week. It is 6 days of no sleep, constant physical and mental harassment, and 1 special day at the Mud Flats. The Mud Flats are an area between San Diego and Tijuana where the water runs off and creates the Tijuana Sloughs, a swampy patch of terrain where the mud will engulf you. It is on Wednesday of Hell Week that you paddle down to the Mud Flats and spend the next 15 hours trying to survive this freezing cold, the howling wind, and the incessant pressure to quit from the instructors. As the sun began to set that Wednesday evening, my training class, having committed some egregious infraction of the rules, was ordered into the mud. The mud consumed each man till there was nothing visible but our heads. The instructors told us we could leave the mud if only 5 men would quit. Only 5 men, just 5 men, and we could get out of the oppressive cold. Looking around the mud flat, it was apparent that some students were about to give up. It was still over 8 hours till the sun came up. 8 more hours of bone-chilling cold. The chattering teeth and the shivering moans of the trainees were so loud, it was hard to hear anything. And then one voice began to echo through the night. One voice raised in song. The song was terribly out of tune, but sung with great enthusiasm. One voice became 2, and 2 became 3, and before long, everyone in the class was singing. The instructors threatened us with more time in the mud if we kept up the singing, but the singing persisted, and somehow the mud seemed a little warmer, and the wind a little tamer, and the dawn not so far away. If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, it is the power of hope. The power of one person, a Washington, a Lincoln, King, Mandela, and even a young girl from Pakistan, Malala. One person can change the world by giving people hope. So if you want to change the world, start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, step up when the times are the toughest, face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, and never ever give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
So, as Admiral McRaven had suggested, habits and routines really matter. I have here the list of routines, and I call them micro habits because the small things are probably more critical than the big ones. And small things, he talks about small things like making your bed. Another small thing which has a tremendously great impact long term is learning how to say no to someone. Some of us were raised to be servant-oriented, service-oriented, and as a result, it really screws us up because we think we need to be everything for everyone, and then we forget to take care of ourselves. So let's start with doing little things. Find small things so you can give yourself some successes, some victories. Having a glass of water, learning to be more aware of what gets you amped up, and what maybe doesn't take good care of you, or who doesn't take good care of you, and start doing things that you want to do. Learning how to be present, learning how to read, learning how to do something that you've been wanting to do, but for some reason you've said, nah, I don't think I have time. No, it's not worth it. Or no, I'm not worth it. Well, that's BS. Start doing one small thing. And if you can't do it one thing a day, then pick one thing for the week. Celebrate it, and then keep building on it. So you start building this momentum. And as you get momentum, you'll start being more courageous. As you start building up this courage inside of you, you'll be willing to do a little bit more, and you'll do it with a smile. When you start doing that, the real you is going to come out. And that real you is who we need to be and who your teammates need for you to be. At the pro level, you see the best athletes get passed by sometimes. And that happens by lesser talented people. Why? Because they're more disciplined. They're willing to do the little things. And it's those little things that have the greatest impact. This young man happens to have a sister who's one of my graduate students. And I remember watching him play over at Cal State Fullerton. Really good player. Got picked up, is now getting a chance to fulfill his dream. And he talks about the importance of routines and how it gets your mind right. It gives you something to go to. You all know that because it's called training. And sometimes things don't go your way. You have stuff that just turns your world upside down. You've got to learn how to disengage, take a step back, and then find your routines so you can get back into your groove again. But it is what separates good from great. It is what helps people feel the ability to bounce back sooner from adversity. And that's so important. All right, so we are creatures of habit. We learn certain things, and we tend to really learn, let's say, songs because of a great rhythm or a riff or a little phrase that's in there. It touches maybe upon a time in our life where we remember, a person we were with or a person we hated, whatever the case is. So I started thinking about what's the best way I could come up with something that you could take away to help you put this on your shelf and not let it get dusty. So I came up with this acronym of Rise Up specifically. And Rise Up is all about creating an acronym and some statements so that you can always refer to and remember them so that you can have a go-to in your tool belt to use when you are struggling, or to remind you, better yet, to stay ahead of the curve, to make sure that you're taking care of you. So Rise Up. First one is R. R is about reinvesting in you. You need to recognize when stuff's not going well. You need to learn how to release it so that you don't hold on to things. Bad times don't last. And the more successful people tend to be optimistic. So we need for you to be optimistic. And we know plenty of people in our world who are pessimistic, and we know where they go. Let's not be that salty individual. Next one is I. I is for inventory. Take a look and focus on things you can be grateful for. That's a mantra that you should start and end your day with. Because when you do, boy, you start really having this profound change and shift in how you see things, how you let things respond to you. And that is so important for the journey of having a successful, healthy life and a happy one. S is for simplify and smile. Simplify the tasks that might be overwhelming to you and attack it with a playful attitude. E is for empathy. Empathy is the truest form of strength, as is vulnerability. Because if you can be empathetic to someone, you're going to be patient, you're going to listen, you're going to be there for them. And I need for you to learn how to be able to let people be empathetic with you. That's where our spirit really desires to be, and learns how to become a more evolved person. up. You. Be uncommon. Negative thinking only makes you become more upset. Don't be part of the crew, of the drama crew, of the politics and the partisan stuff that's going on. Understand that everybody experiences sadness, hurt, failure, rejection, setbacks. It's not just you. So when you're feeling unhappy, learn to let it go. Don't get upset. Don't let things, tap into your rage. Learn how to take a moment. Learn how to take a breath. Learn how to see a healthy perspective, which is P, because optimism is the best lens for which to see the world. It's real easy to get jaded. It's real easy to go south and go into that negative Nancy mode or that sarcastic Sam mode. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve our world. It doesn't serve their station. It doesn't serve your crew. It does not serve our families. Learn how to do these things. Rise up so that you can feel empowered, you can feel emboldened, you could be and be the man and woman that the man upstairs wants you to be. Okay, summary of the homework assignments that we gave you. Take one of the 5 pillars that were shown early in the slide: self-awareness, mindfulness, self-care, positive relationships, purpose. Take one of those, and I want you to start working on it. I want you to find and identify 3 things that you can do, not all in one day, but 3 things that you can do that will help increase your growth. And then I want you to find somebody that we'll refer to as an anchor that will help hold you accountable. An anchor is someone or something that helps you stay on your path. A good friend, a spouse, a boss, someone you can share your goals with, someone you can share these plans with, who will help you when you need the help. I refer to them as no people. They're the ones that aren't yes people. They will tell you, they'll call you out. Those are true friends, and we need more of them. So I hope you enjoyed everything that I put together for you. I would love to get your comments. I'd love to hear any questions you might have and be able to answer them. But most importantly, I hope and I pray that you stay safe, stay healthy, that you really take some of this information and you apply it. And if there's any time you have questions, you want more coaching, you would like more information on this, my contact information is there. That's my cell number. You can reach me anytime. I've been doing some projects with some fire stations where I'm doing leadership seminars with captains and BCs and even the chiefs. And it's been so awesome. So I hope maybe that we can eventually get to that place. But for right now, I need for you to take care of you. I need for you to acknowledge how great you are. I need for you to acknowledge all the good that you have in your life, even if it's a down moment, right? But it will pass. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Build the morale. Build the camaraderie. Help each other so that you can walk a little taller, speak a little louder, a little bolder, and you can bounce back a lot faster. That, for me, is a true sign that you're getting what we mean by being resilient. All right. Take care. God bless. And thank you for your time. And thank you for what it is that you do.